Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. I'm Cassidy. If you're new here, it's really nice to meet you, and if you are returning, welcome back. It's really good to see you guys again. So today we're going to be talking about the Infernal Devices Trilogy by Cassandra Clare, like as a whole. Just kind of like my thoughts on all three books together, what I liked, if there was anything I didn't like. So of course those books are Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess. If you see me look down or off to the side, I'm simply just referring back to my notebook. I don't want to miss telling you guys any of my thoughts. If you have not read this trilogy at all and you would like to, please click off this video and go read it, because there will definitely be a ton of spoilers all throughout this video. It'll be a short video, but filled with spoilers. So please, if you don't want it spoiled for you, click off, go read the books, click back on. Also, I did make a video for each of these books, like where it was a summary and my thoughts reading it, so I will link all those videos down below if you are interested in that as well. So the Infernal Devices Trilogy by Cassandra Clare. Once again, book 1 is Clockwork Angel, book 2 is Clockwork Prince, and book 3 is Clockwork Princess. Starting, of course, with the little love triangle between Tessa, Will, and Jem. I really liked this take on a love triangle. It wasn't just like two boys fighting or competing, or two girls or two people for the attention of one other person, where person A really liked person B and C both. B and C both really liked person A, but B and C did not like each other. In this trilogy, both Will and Jem adored one another. They all adored one another. And neither boy treated it like a competition or liked their friend any less just because they happened to like the same girl. Both Will and Jem would have given up their love for Tessa for the other person, and Will even did. He saw that Jem really loved Tessa and that they were engaged, and so he chose to try to put his feelings on the back burner. He was still madly in love with Tessa, but he'd never acted on it. Also, Tessa loved both Will and Jem so completely and so fully that even after Will passed away of old age, not several hundreds of years, but like a little over 100 years had passed, it wasn't weird for her to end up with Jem. She even said it herself. She couldn't have loved either Will or Jem as completely and fully as she did without loving the other one. They're tied, and they always will be, even through space and time, life and death. I did also mention this in one of my other videos, but one of my best friends, Hannah, she is polyamorous and she hates the love triangle trope. She just would have wanted everyone to all be dating each other, or Tessa to be dating both of them at the same time. She's like, why limit your love? So that's another option, or that could have been another option. Again, this was like the 19th century, so probably not, but it's an interesting take. This trilogy was also set, I think, almost right after the original Accords, where Shadowhunters just couldn't attack Downworlders with no cause or no reason. So while the original Mortal Instruments series definitely does have Shadowhunters who hate Downworlders for no reason. I mean, obviously, there was Valentine and the Circle. I feel like there was one particular character in this trilogy that made it so obvious that the Accords had just happened, and that's Alios Starkweather. He was the old man it was his institute that caused this whole strife to begin with by them murdering Mortmain's parents. And Starkweather was just very intense in his hatred of Downworlders, like way more than we have seen any other character be, aside from maybe Valentine. But even then, he used demons and everything. Starkweather just hated everything that wasn't a Shadowhunter. He didn't even, I think, really like mundanes, normal humans. So that was really interesting to see as well. Jem's backstory was also really interesting. A demon wanted revenge for Jem's parents unaliving her children, I think. And so she severely harmed them. She's the one who got Jem addicted to Yenfen. And then even after he came to the Institute, everybody knew he didn't have long to live. yet he was just the light and so kind and so generous to people. And so I think that's really interesting. Also because the Silent Brothers, I feel like, are meant to feel like they're all powerful and can heal almost anything, can find out any answer, yet they couldn't help Jem. Also, Magnus Kennett, who is the High Warlock of Brooklyn in the original series, and he is so, so powerful, yet he also couldn't do anything to help Jem. And even with knowing that Jem wasn't going to be long for this world, Will still wanted him to be his Parabatai. Even with other kids around his age, close in proximity, he did not want that. Will wanted Jem. Even knowing that Jem probably wouldn't make it into adulthood, that he would succumb to his illness long before then, he didn't want any other person to be his Parabatai. And I think that that's really cool and really big. And I feel like a lot of people would choose somebody who would have a high likelihood of making it into adulthood. You're stronger when you're with your Parabatai, and because he can never choose another one. That's his one Parabatai for life. But he loved Jem so much and couldn't imagine having another person be that to him. We also got to see the Lightwoods. In the original series, the Lightwoods obviously play a huge part. Alec, Isabel, and their parents. And we got to see the Lightwoods play a big part in this series too. And the Lightwoods are assholes in this one, which I think is hilarious because Alec and Isabel are so sweet and we love them so much. But Mayrus and Robert, Alec and Isabel's parents, were apparently pretty big assholes. They were part of Valentine's circle where they wanted to get rid of all downworlders. So Mayrus and Robert were probably raging assholes when they were younger. And they hated downworlders more than anything. Yet, Benedict Lightwood, who was the father of the two Lightwood boys in this trilogy, Gabriel and Gideon, he got demon pox because he slept with too many demons and contracted an STI, basically. So, and he like canoodled with other downworlders as well. So I just think it's really interesting that Benedict was a huge asshole and the Lightwood parents in the Mortal Instrument series were probably huge assholes and kind of still are, yet in very different ways. But it does seem like that cycle's kind of breaking. Isabel is kind of a bitch, but she's also the biggest sweetheart as well. And Alec, while was very stone-faced and did not like Clary in the original trilogy, or in the original series, grows to be one of the most loving characters. There's also such amazing character growth in this series. Now, back to the Infernal Devices Trilogy. There was also amazing character growth in this series from all the characters, but especially Gabriel Lightwood. He's the younger son of Benedict Lightwood, and he started out being like, yes, Dad, whatever you need, I will be your errand boy. I will be such a dick to everybody. Like, the Lightwoods are strong, and we deserve to be here more than anybody else, and very entitled. To learning how to stick up for the people who might not have anybody, and defending his friends, defending his family. He would always defend his family, but he defended his Shadowhunter family, so the Institute. And he fought right alongside them, and we even got to see him fall in love. And I think falling in love was a big reason he changed who he was. His brother Gideon was probably the other major reason he changed as a person and grew. So I think it was really cool to see his growth as a character. And then Gideon, the older brother, I feel like he's kind of like Alec when he falls in love. Completely obsessed, loves and cherishes that one person. For Gideon, it's Sophie. And for Alec, it's Magnus. So I think that's interesting because that's how at least I took it, was that they love that the way that they love is very similar. Speaking again of the original series, it was really cool to see like ancestors. Like we got to see Fairchild's, which in the Infernal Devices trilogy, it's Charlotte and her children. In the Mortal Instruments ones, it's Jocelyn and Clary, Hirondales being Will in Infernal Devices and Jace in Mortal Instruments, Lightwoods, which I've already touched on. There are other names that we've heard of, which are Carstairs, Waylon, Penhollow. And so I just think it's really cool to see family names that you recognize. Also Magnus, he obviously is in both series, and he is also very, very similar. He is so loving to whoever his lover is and will do anything for them, will be there for them, cares about them completely, and I think it's so sweet. I do think he loves Magnus. I do think Magnus loves Alec just a little bit more than he ever loved Camille. But I am also super biased because I love Magnus and Alec together. I think they're the cutest fucking couple ever. Something new in this book that we didn't really get to see in the original one is that we got to see someone ascend. We didn't get to see the entire process really, but someone who was not born to be a shadow hunter, trained, and then they drank from the mortal cup and got to become a shadow hunter. And in the Infernal Devices Trilogy, that was Sophie, who was the servant and who ended up married to Gideon. And I love it. Like, being a shadow hunter was all Sophie ever wanted, and I'm so happy that she got it. And we got to see a lot of character growth from her as well, where she was like a meek little servant who was scared of everybody and didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, to a shadow hunter. And she's so cool. I love her. I can only aspire to be as cool as her. The villain in this series is also really interesting as well. He relies on his brains. He doesn't rely on his strength or even really his connections to other people. He built the connections. He built these infernal devices, these automations, and set them loose. And he was such a big threat. And he probably very easily could have taken down all of the shadow hunters without a single problem. The only reason he couldn't was because of Tessa. And I just think he's a really interesting villain. I feel like revenge is a very common motive for villains, but we got to see him being really smart. While in Mortal Instruments, it's a lot of times they rely on their strength or their other connections to other shadow hunters. And they are also smart. Valentine was extremely smart, but however, he relied a lot on his shadow hunter capabilities. Mortmain didn't have that. He had to only rely on his brains. I also like that Tessa's unique. She is a warlock who was born out of a greater demon and a shadow hunter who was unmarked. So because of that, even though typically warlocks can't have any children, Tessa's able to. So I can't help but wonder if Tessa and Will's children are going to have any kind of special powers because of Tessa. We see their descendant in Mortal Instruments in Jace, and he is extraordinary. He's an incredible shadow hunter, but a lot of that is because Valentine experimented on him. So how much of his extraordinary abilities is because of Valentine versus him being a Hirondale, a descendant of Will and Tessa? I'm assuming. He might be a cousin or something, but my point still stands. Do the Hirondales from that line specifically, from Will and Tessa, are they extraordinary? Do they have special abilities? Also, I'm interested to see if Tessa and Jem are going to have children at any point in the future, and if Jem is going to become a shadow hunter again. He claimed in one of the other books that being a shadow hunter is who he is. It's why he didn't want to become a vampire to live forever. Being a shadow hunter is who he is in his core. So is he going to become a shadow hunter again? Is he going to join an institute? Or maybe train him? Is he going to be a teacher? Or is he just going to live a regular mundane life with Tessa? Yeah, I'm really excited to see in the rest of the Mortal Instruments series and any series that comes after that if we get to see Tessa, Jem, of course we're going to see Magnus, and any mentions of people from these books. Like Camille's a vampire, so she lives forever, so is she still alive? Is she going to pop up in the books? Is she going to be mentioned? Is the London Institute, Wolsey Scott, Mortmain, are any of these people going to be mentioned at all? So I'm really excited to read the rest of this series and rest of this world and just try to connect all the dots. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I really like this series as a whole. I think it's a lot of fun. I love Cassandra Clare and her world building. I think she's a fabulous author. So I really liked this series, and it was a complete one. I don't think I have any questions aside from Magnus, but that's mainly from the original series. That's not from this one. So please let me know what you guys thought down below. Do you also really like this series? Do you hate it? Do you completely disagree with me and you thought this was the worst series ever? I'd love to know why. But yeah, let me know what you thought. This series, the Mortal Instruments world as a whole. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like. Subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!